my followers the newly Master of Fine Arts uh, Patrick Facemeyer, who lives in West Virginia at the moment in lockdown, and I'm in Boston in lockdown. And Patrick and I met through the very famous Peter Draws channel, and we met, in fact, in person, face to face, and he visited Boston. We went to museums and drew, and went to other places and drew, and drew and drew and drew. And Patrick has a couple of pens that he bought from me, and so he is now drawing. And say hello, Patrick.
Hello, Patrick. That's probably one of the oldest jokes in the world by now, but
it works out okay. Now, if you watch how I'm holding my pen and how Patrick is holding his pen, it's very interesting. He tends to, more as often as not, make a line that goes to the top of the page from the middle of the page, where I'm almost always pulling down. And you're drawing a face, it looks like. Is that what you're drawing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'd have to, I suppose. I don't know whether you can see the full image on your screen or not. I don't know whether it'll show up larger on the video or whether I should see if I can.
It's working fine. I
Okay.
mean, I'm seeing. You can see when you're looking down what I'm seeing. I think. I don't think there's any difference there.
Oh yeah. So you're able to see what I'm seeing then.
And you should be able to see what I'm seeing, and I'm sort of copying you right now, though I started off badly. So one of the things.
No bad. That's what they taught me in college.
That's what you learned in college. There is no bad.
Yeah, that's what you learn in college, that there's no good and evil, and that everything is completely wrong. Everything is all a matter of perspective, and that we need to ruin society as quickly as possible, just like all those on the far right say.
Oh, is that okay? Good. Well, I'm glad that
I'm making it politically. Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Yeah. Oh, good. You're making political references on my totally apolitical channel.
Yes, that's fine. I'm hardly apolitical. I put Trump through the ringer every possible chance I get, and the stupid people that voted for him almost every single time. What I'm going to tell our viewers what you and I will do as a project together, independently, but concurrently, I guess is what it is. One of Patrick's favorite books, or maybe the favorite book, is Don Quixote.
Right.
And I read it years ago, and I could not find my copy, so I went on eBay and bought one. And Patrick is now reading it in the original Spanish, or trying to. And
yes, I absolutely. I speak no Spanish. No hablo español.
Okay,
but, I'm attempting to learn. I'm attempting to learn.
Learn as you're reading a novel, the very subtle and sophisticated novel. No. See the dog run. Run.
That's boring stuff. I want to move on right on to Il Gigante Morgante, La Dama que. Yeah. See.
Okay. Well, good.
It's easier. It's actually not as difficult as you might think. I don't get all of it obviously right away, but since I'm coming into it knowing Italian, a Latinate language already, it actually makes it a lot easier.
Okay. I was showing a fellow pen collector who is Italian um,
Oh.
your Instagram account and sent him some of the drawings you did, that the Proud Boys, and some of your Rembrandt-esque drawings, and some of your very cartoon-esque drawings, and just the full range of what you can do. And he said that your Italian made him laugh. So
That's probably because it wasn't quite as
as exact
because
as it
as
could be.
developed as it was.
Yeah.
But
The other thing is, you were, for the poor boy things, maybe you ragazzi something or rather, I don't remember what you said, but maybe he needed to understand that the what you were describing were people,
was another political reference.
Another political reference that he didn't understand, and he just thought, what are these poor boys doing, masturbating, or something, whatever they were doing. So anyway, Patrick and I, right in the gutter. We knew we would go there, but Patrick and I have decided that we're going to try to read the book at the same time. I'll struggle through the English translation, and Patrick will fly through the Spanish one. And we decided we'd each draw an illustration for one illustration per chapter. Now, Patrick has had
as a sort of extra project.
As an extra project that we can do, yeah.
And I had this empty book, so it's upside down because that's just how I do things.
Well,
apparently. So there was this empty book, and what I'm doing right now, I'm copying it, the edition on Kindle chapter by chapter.
Oh dear.
And hopefully by the time I reach the end of the book, I'll be able to at least read Spanish.
Okay, well, good for you.
Yeah, so I'm going to put the illustrations in at the end of each chapter in that book.
Oh, good. And the lines aren't going to bother you?
That's how it's going to work for me. No, the lines don't bother me. Maybe they'll bother somebody else, but
okay. Well, they won't bother me. So anyway, one of the things that I think is going to be interesting, I don't know whether I have the ability or desire to draw everything sort of in the same style. I may make something very calligraphic and doodly, and I may make another one that's very abstract. I may do something that maybe is realistic, though with me, I don't know how, as many human bodies as I've drawn and things like that, I forget how elbows work, and knees and stuff like that. I don't know the anatomy. The proportions would be off unless I had a guy on a horse and a windmill in front of me to be able to draw it realistically. So I don't know what my drawings are going to look like. Patrick's drawings, on the other hand, he seems to, the fingers on your humanoids have 5 fingers and a thumb, or 4 fingers and a thumb, and you seem to have the elbows go in the right way. You have a better sense of how to create the figure without looking at one, I think. But
you could say that.
I could say that. Well, I am saying that. I'm saying that out loud right now. And Patrick also has the ability, he can draw really well, whether he's drawing realistically or he's drawing abstractly, or if he's drawing as if he's a child. They all have a delicious, if I can use that word, line quality and mark making that is not hesitant. You make a line and there it is. And you told me that you cheat by planning out very carefully with pencil underneath what you want to do, but it doesn't look like that. You know, we don't see the pencil lines.
There have been some instances in which I've done that, but for the most part, it's usually I just do very like, I'll use the back of the pen
to make a very fine line. Yeah.
The front of the pen to make a very fine line, right?
Yeah.
And so what I usually do, because I hate to use pencil and then go over it, is the thing.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I guess that sometimes, I mean, I don't mind it if it's really a loose laying out of the space, but if, I don't make such a realistic or detailed drawing in pencil that it will cramp my style later on.
Yeah.
If I have to draw a house portrait and make it look realistic from a photograph, I will trace, there's no art in it. It's just skill, unfortunately. I'll trace the image of the house on the piece of paper with pencil and a light board, and then I'll go back with ink. But even then, and sometimes I have to be a lot more exact than I want to be, where I won't draw every pane of glass, but at least draw the shape, the proportions of the windows correctly. Because the last thing you want to do when you're drawing someone's symmetrical house, that you mismeasured it and it looks lopsided. So I sometimes have to do that. Well, what is your man wearing on his head?
I just sort of decided to draw a helmet, and then it turned into something completely baroque, and I've forgotten how to say what I want to say in both English and Italian.
Well, that's the problem.
Di sinistra vorrei dire. Something completely outside of all reason.
Okay.
I think I'm thinking like of like an Eastern European cap mixed with something like a helmet.
Okay.
I started out with the intention to try and...
Well, it looks like he has a big mushroom going out of his head. If that was what you were intending to draw, that's kind of...
If you intended to draw a giant mushroom
on the top of his head,
then
this is a good job.
Correct. Otherwise, it's total shit. No, but I think the reason I'm not a big fan of like doing the pencil work is because it just feels like I'm taking something that was good in and of itself and just going over it with a completely different thing.
Yeah. I'm funny with mixing media as well. A lot of people like putting ink wash on top of pen and ink, or worse, that's not too bad, I don't think, putting watercolor on top of pen and ink, because it just seems, sometimes the effect can be good, but most of the time people that do that, maybe they render it in a certain way where they draw the outline of the face, so there's this dark line going around the whole head, and then they draw the outline of the eyes, and then the outline of the mouth. Yeah. So there's it's like a coloring book.
It's like they do this thing and then they add in, I don't know whether you can see it the way I'm doing it.
No, you're a little bit off the camera now, but...
Oh, okay. Let me see. So I'm just gonna, like, they do this, and then they do the chin, and then you draw your anime face here.
Yes.
And he's got to be he's got to be smiling, but he's also got to like have these eyebrows, and there's his hair.
Yeah, he has to be.
And
he's watching the car crash, and the baby.
He's seeing the world. He's seeing like the entire world unfold before him.
Yes.
Right, this guy. And anyway, Well, let's give him spiky teeth,
Okay, good.
just because he's a tough guy, and we'll say he's gotta go fast. Some of your younger viewers might understand that. I don't
Well,
know.
I certainly don't. But anyway, the anyway, it's so you've made your mushroom-headed guy a monk. Is that what you made him, or is he a crusader?
Like I was thinking like a crusader, yeah.
Okay, so
Because it's just a mescalance of like all of this idiocy, right? I was thinking, at the start, well, I'll figure out how I want to draw Don Quixote, and I don't know whether this is how I want to draw him or not. Because I have the choice of trying to be classy,
or you could make him anime.
Shit like this. Yeah,
you could make him anime, or you could make Sancho Panza anime, and so it's all sorts of. So I'm gonna switch over to how you're holding the pen. You're holding it very.
There's never a moment when you fail to mention this on these videos.
Well,
I don't mind.
That's okay.
Because it makes me feel special.
I'm just trying to imitate what you're doing, and it seems you're holding it. If you sent me a picture of how you hold a pen, I don't think I ever would have sold you a pen, because it almost looks like you're holding it vertically.
You said you're an abuser. You're a child abuser.
You're a pen abuser, and it's just you're holding it more vertically, it seems.
Oh man.
Yeah, than I normally do, but I know that you haven't harmed the pen, and you're very.
Actually, I have not used this pen in so long. I'm remembering how much fun it is to use.
Yeah.
But also, it's sort of remarkable in that it's kept so well.
Well, it's older than your father. It's almost as old as your grandfather.
And, when was this pen born?
Well, that's probably from the 40s.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's somewhere maybe in my grandfather's teens.
Yeah. So, and so the fact that you've had it for 2 years now is not a long time in its history. So, it should last I don't know if you're ever planning to have children or grandchildren, but there's no reason why it won't last until your grandchild is in art school.
Yeah, I've been told I should not have children.
Okay, well,
actually, I haven't been told that, but my mom has said, for instance, to my brother and his wife, "You're my last hope for grandchildren."
I see. So she's implying that your seed will go.
It will go wasted.
It'll go elsewhere.
I will bear no good fruit.
No. Well, anyway, you can give it to your nephew.
I shall.
Your nephew.
I'll put it in a box and I'll send it to him. Oh, you mean I thought you meant the pen. I thought you meant my seed.
No, I'm sorry.
Interesting thing to send one to nephew. I was thinking, wow, this is getting into the gutter.
No,
but it turned out that I was the only one there.
No,
that's the plot twist, everybody.
It was not your seed that I was.
Maybe we shouldn't publish this video.
No, it's fine. People will think that we're farmers. No one uses that term anymore other than Bible reading.
Now that we're in the gutter, can I talk a little bit about Don Quixote?
A little bit, sure.
Yeah, just a little bit, and then we'll move back to the pens because I know we
Okay.
need to talk about the pens.
Well, I
So
don't want this video to be too overly long either, but I'm
right.
happy to uh, uh, we don't have to go back to talking about pens as long as
Okay.
we're using them
Oh
here.
no,
But
no, no.
anyway, talk about
Whatever.
Don Quixote.
Qualsiasi cose accade. Ma anyway,
Speak about it in English so I understand.
yeah, I'll use English. I definitely can't use Spanish, not at this
No,
point.
no.
But so one of the reasons that I wanted to read it in the original, obviously, is because there are just certain things. Umberto Eco, he always said, in order to translate a text, you have to betray a text.
Okay.
And the beautiful thing about that is it's a beautiful example of what he meant, because when he says that in Italian, which is his native language, he says tradurre un testo e tradire un testo, right? So it's like a little rhyming scheme, which
Okay.
is anyway. That's not the point. The point is
Okay.
that I've already had that sort of experience. So, whenever Cervantes describes the armor that Don Quixote decides to fix up as best he can, which is not very well because he tries to fix. Excuse me, he tries to fix the helmet.
Mm-hmm.
Celada, I believe. Any Spanish speakers can tell me if I got that wrong. But he tries to fix la celada, and he breaks it in one blow with his sword.
Okay.
But Cervantes describes the armor, right? He describes Don Quixote's Bisnono's armor. I can't remember the bisabuelo, I think. And he describes it as smaculato de orin. I'm using an Italian accent, but it would essentially mean stained with rust.
Okay.
Now it's either orin. Yeah, it's orin because orin is like the oxidization. That's what it's used to describe. But there's a word game. He makes a pun there.
Okay.
And the pun is that orin is another way of saying orina, which would be literally urine.
Okay.
So you're left to wonder, okay, is this armor just rusty or has somebody been pissing on it all the time?
Okay.
That cracked me up.
Okay. Well, I know that reading any translation of anything that's written with as much care as that, a lot will be lost. I love Wagnerian opera, and when you just read the translation of a libretto, you're missing so much because
there's timing schemes.
Well, it's not so much the right. It's more. There's a lot of not alliteration. There's a lot of that, but there's one example. Loga is the name of one of the gods, and now I can't give you the example, but there's the person talking to or speaking to Loga says, "Your name may be Loga, but I call you Lucky," and the word for luck is one syllable different from his name. So, but when you read that in English, you don't get that. You have to also look at the German translation. You can hear it, but of course it's opera and you don't know what the heck they're saying, even if even if it's in English, because you're not used to it. You know, a word lasting for a one syllable word lasting for about 10 and a half minutes. You don't think that way. You don't read that way. So I know that there's a lot that's going to be lost that you will see in your reading it. And I imagine you'll also, if you have a problem, you may look at the English translation.
I mean, not the translation, but I've basically been looking up whatever words I don't know or whatever grammar I can't understand in dictionaries. The one nice thing about what's that?
Oh, good. Well, I'm glad about that. I'm just I know that we weren't supposed to go back to talk about pens, but I will talk about the pens for a second. Patrick is using a Waterman from the 40s with a nice thin flexible nib, and I'm using a desk set with two pens, both Wall Eversharp pens, and one is sort of broad and flexible, and the other one is slightly less broad and equally flexible. And one had red ink and one had black ink for my accounting, which I don't do, but I'll pretend I do. And I just drew a face, and then I attacked it with ink wash or water on a brush and turned into this monstrous thing. And
I'm really enjoying it.
You're liking what I'm drawing?
Oh yeah.
You're not going to say something like, it looks like the mushrooms infested her as well. Is this a her or a him?
No, it looks like you were on mushrooms while you were drawing it.
Well, I knew there were mushrooms.
Bam!
Mushrooms. Mushrooms had to do. We're in there somewhere. We've got 3 more minutes, and then I'm going to stop the recording, and you and I can talk a little bit more. But now that you have inked up this pen that you neglected for as long as you have, are you going to use that pen to do the illustrations?
Oh, yeah, that's definitely what I was planning on.
Okay.
Again, I'm just trying to decide whether I want to do something more like this or whether I want it to be a bit more realistic and classy, like I guess this one. I mean, realistic, classy. Is there any?
Well, I'm wondering whether you feel you're obligated to. It's a big long book, and why paint yourself into a corner? You know, you might see something in a chapter that's saying, "Oh my God, I wish I was cutting this out of cardboard," or whatever.
Right.
You know, you might want to do something entirely different. And I know that's something that, you know, if a publisher wouldn't be interested in, but
yeah, I'm not doing it for a publisher.
But you're not doing it for a publisher. You're doing it for yourself. And I know that you do have the ability to render things in so many different ways, and so do I. I can be realistic, and I can be calligraphic, and I can be playful, and I may switch back and forth and up and down and to and fro, and I may do something with pencil on paper on one. I may do something with those big wax China marking pencils. So I may just go all over the map, and but I think it'll be fun. One of the things that I'm looking forward to is, you know, I'll read my chapter, and you'll read the same chapter, and you know, we may draw the same thing, the same, you know, the climax of this story is the windmill, you know, being attacked, or maybe it's going to be something else. You were talking about the line in the book about poor is it Sancho Panza? Is that he peed in his pants because he didn't want to.
Oh yeah. Well, he actually yeah pooped.
Pooped in his
Yeah,
pants.
that's
Okay, on top of
important
that.
detail.
So I mean that wasn't, chapter 27 in which Sanso Panza poops in his pants. That's not the point of that story.
That's
was not that. But I can imagine you or me in the gutter where we all are might, try to draw the expression on his face as he's
one of the nice thing
doing
is that
that.
many people would illustrate that. Not many
No.
people looking for a publisher would say, I think this is the part that they would want me to illustrate. I think they literally want me to draw shit.
Well, but you won't. You draw the expression of him both.
Well, you don't just draw the expression.
Well, but if it's
you
in
could
his
draw
pants,
him expressing his bowels.
well, you wouldn't want to. I mean, I would think drawing the expression on his face, which is both relief and disgust, unless he likes that sort of thing, that while you're not seeing the actual thing because it's in his pants and he's presumably wearing his pants.
Actually, he drops them down. He's able to drop them down,
well,
and there's this whole little exchange between them, and his Don Quixote's basically says, I think, Sancho, that you might be a little bit frightened, and Sancho is like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what would lead you to believe that.
I see. Okay.
I like your anime, man. There.
Oh, I was trying to copy you, but I don't.
No, it. See, the best part about that one is it actually looks like some of the really old anime.
Oh, okay.
At least to me.
Okay. Well, it'll be interesting to see what we do, and anyway, now it's 32 minutes, so let's say goodbye,
Okay.
I'll stop the recording, and hopefully I'll be able to upload it to my channel. Let's just see your entire page as you.
Okay.
So you've got a page full of heads, more or less.
Basically, yes. I think we sort of did the same thing.
Yeah, except I used many pages. What's that torch or something? Is that oh, that's his shoulder. Okay.
Yeah.
I saw that as a torch that the anime guy was having just burned the world, and he's watching it all burn.
That's this fella right here
with his sharp teeth. I love his pogo stick eyebrows.
Oh yeah, I hadn't even thought about that.
And he has sort of scrotum eyeballs too.
Oh yeah.
We're right in the gutter.
I mean, that's where it was always. You said it was destined to be.
It was destined to be. We'll always go in the gutter. Well, say goodbye. Say goodbye, Patrick. Goodbye, Patrick.
Goodbye, Patrick.
And I'll say goodbye as well. Stop recording. See you later. Bye.
Ciao.
Okay, hold on. Why isn't it stopping?